We'll go into the thick of it for controller, mouse, and keyboard settings, and more importantly, the game-changing keybinds. One of the most tilting settings is auto climb. If you're sprinting and get next to anything that's climbable, you're going to do that. And this includes the dreaded resupply mantle endlessly. Under gameplay, make sure that's turned off. If you don't want your aim to suck, turn camera shake strength off. By default, it's turned on, and even the weakest setting makes explosions move your reticle if they're happening near you. This includes your hell pods landing next to you. This means you'll miss more shots. If you want to keep it on for immersion, go nuts. Weak, strong, I don't care. Immerse yourself in missing the brass out of a barn. The choice is yours. To use certain backpacks, press down on the D-pad for controller or 5 on mouse and keyboard. Throwing grenades quickly is very important, so bind quick throwable to press R1. If you want to have a button to pull out the grenade, hold it in your hands, and aim it a bit better, you can bind throwable to double tap R1. On mouse and keyboard, it would behoove you to bind quick throwable to an easy to press button, particularly on your mouse. I have died so many times because I had throwable bound to F, pop out a grenade, go to chuck it, I'm dead. If it was on quick throwable, it's already sent. Before you even earn your cape, the first thing you should change is the way you input stratagems. For controller, go to change bindings and scroll down to stratagems, change the activation to long press, and then bind all the directions based on the right side of your controller. For PS5, up is going to be triangle, down is X, left is square, and right is circle. This way, I can move around using my left thumbstick and input the keys just as so after holding down circle for a little bit of time. If you don't enjoy it after trying it, change the activation to press and all the buttons back to the previous analog keys. For mouse and keyboard, change bindings, down to stratagems, make sure open stratagem list is set to press. And if you want to move while inputting stratagems, you can't be using WASD, dude. So change those all to arrow keys. Up is up, down is down, so on and so forth. Now you open the menu, you take your right hand off your mouse and input the keys. The buttons you pick in the stratagem menu will affect how you interact with terminals. Left can be square, right can be circle, up can be scroll wheel, down can be scroll wheel. So if you have a slow scroll wheel, good luck at bingo, brother. Crouching, laying down, and diving are far more important than you can possibly realize. The default bind is circle for all those, which is hard to hit if you also want to aim unless you're playing claw and speedrunning arthritis. I recommend binding it to L1 for each of them. You want tap for crouch, long press for prone, and double tap for dive. If you're playing with friends and you don't want other folks joining, make sure you set matchmaking privacy to invite only. You can also choose friends only. Otherwise, folks can see your match abroad and join it willy-nilly. This next one requires a rocket surgeon license. On controller, if you like the idea of turning off your HUD, set open map tap with the middle button here, then scroll all the way down and set toggle HUD to the same button, long press, very important, and scroll to communications and set open chat to double tap with that big old button right there. Then you have all kinds of ways of using the same button for different stuff, but now you can turn off your HUD and be a bit more cinematic. On mouse and keyboard, go to change bindings, same spot you would for the controller, scroll all the way down, and I bound my toggle HUD to 0. I've been experimenting with the Helldivers Classic weapon switch mode, allowing you to swap between your primary and support weapon at a single button press, and you hold to switch to your secondary. I don't quite fancy it. I prefer default, which is swapping between primary and secondary and holding for support weapon. Make sure remember aim mode is set to per weapon. If you scope with a diligence, it will keep that same gesture and you don't have to press any extra buttons. With it off, you'll always be in third person. You can change this at the click of a button using R3 for controller. M and K would be middle mouse button. Set remember weapon functions to yes, unless you want to keep changing railgun from safe to unsafe mode. Weapon switch mode only affects controller, and dynamic aim mode only affects mouse and keyboard. With this setting on, if you tap the aim button, you'll go into first person view. If you hold it, you'll be in third person. It's completely preference. I've played the game for 2,000 hours so far, and I don't have this on currently. I might experiment with it more. For now, the choice is yours. Doe's editor here, when you have dynamic aim mode turned on and you're on controller, and you aim in, it'll keep you there, even though I have it set to being hold. I turn that setting off, now it's back to normal. If you're keen on switching from left to right shoulder, go ahead and bind switch camera side to double tap left analog. I never use it, it looks a bit janky, but give it a gander. There's two settings I don't quite know how to feel about, reticle color and outline. Color changes from white to yellow, green, and red, outline gives you a darker background, sort of, to that very same reticle. It does not apply to your true aim reticle, the circle that's opaque and moves. Instead, it's affecting your centering reticle. A setting some players take for granted is switch weapon on pickup. You pick it up, it's now equipped and ready to fire, unless it has a delay, like E17. Point being, it makes things a lot faster. Compare that to this. Pick up the weapon, switch to it, and then begin the firing process. On mouse and keyboard, turn mouse smoothing off and mouse acceleration to 0. My sense is 0.03 at 1600 DPI. Be sure to test out your own stuff and figure out what works for you. If you're searching for a jerry-rigged way to swap weapon functions, go ahead and locate the open weapon wheel under combat and find what it's bound to. Long press square in our case. Then pick which one you want to switch quickly. Up is going to be scope, down is flashlight, left is the weapon's firing function. It's hard to explain that. Right is RPM. I use variable, so I want my variable to switch modes quickly. Audio settings. Voice chat by default is set to open microphone. You can go to push to talk, push to mute, muted, disabled, and toggle microphone. I recommend push to talk for most people. If you're on control using a foot pedal, toggle microphone would be goated. I'm gonna go push to talk though. Master volume is at 5, music 6, dialogue 6. If you hear a mortar emplacement near you, turn dialogue off. You'll hear it the entire time. If you're rocking the double-edged sickle, which lights you on fire, turn dialogue volume off. You'll hear nothing but screaming the entire time. Public disclaimer. Display and graphic settings are not my field of expertise, but here's what I use when rocking a 2080 Ti with a 9800 X3D. We got camera shake strength turned off. Field of view, default, 70. When you increase this, it gives you dang near a fisheye look. If you're going for that, go nuts. Resolution, don't matter. Render scale, native. If you want to get maybe screenshots, you can crank it up all the way to ultra sampling. For me, in the current state, you can tell a noticeable difference. I think my frames dropped to 20. So native is a safer bet. Display mode, borderless window. I can tab out just fine. And in full screen, if you're on mouse and keyboard, you can still be playing the game in full screen and your mouse will go off the monitor. To fix that problem, you hit escape twice at the start of each mission. It's weird, it works, just let you know. Frame rate limit off, VSync off, graphics settings, motion blur, 0, like in basically every game I play. Depth of field, off, bloom, off. Those 3 settings make the game look a bit weird. The rest of the stuff is mostly going to just be preference, if your PC or console can handle it. If you want more ideas on better frame rate stuff, I'm not the guy. But I do know that volumetric font quality and cloud quality being turned to the highest setting makes the game look better. At least it did for these nursing spears. I didn't test it under every situation. I spent a lot of time on this video already. But it looked better. The quality was better. I could see a bit more. So I was under the impression that lower was good. And I was going to say that, and I thought to myself, I should probably test that instead of saying I think. So I think, based on what I tested, higher is good, if your PC or console can handle it. Ginormous stamina bar, huge compass, top right, bottom left, many things to look at. You can have all this on, all this off, or go for an in-between measure by changing your HUD settings. We're going to briskly jog through every setting. HUD curve, you don't want that. Keep it to 0. HUD scale, this increases how big every element looks. I go 0.9. HUD edge offset, we're going to skip that. HUD background opacity, this gives a black background to all your elements, making it easier to see at a glance. Primary objective, this will make it to where you can actually see what's happening and then what the mission goal is. If you go to dynamic, it'll only pop up when the game determines it being necessary, which is near it. Map only, if you open your map, you'll see it. That'll be a recurring theme for the majority of these settings. Secondary objective visibility. On dynamic, it only pops up when you're near a side objective, giving you more information. Keep it on there. Mission info visibility. By default, it's turned off, which is weird, Arrowhead. This shows your level and the time remaining in the mission. Make it visible. Don't be a coward. Stratagem visibility. Header visible shows a giant text in the top left. Next option doesn't do that. And hidden makes it so you can't see any input when doing stratagems. If you're a psychopath, go crazy. Health visibility. Keep it visible. Dynamic, if you get hit, it'll show, but you just want to be able to see that the whole time. Weapon status visibility. It'll show your ammunition and all that good stuff. Visible. Hint visibility. If you're new, keep it on. If you're not, turn it off. Tooltip, same thing. Stamina visibility. If you're using it, actually, it'll be shown the entire time. Dynamic, when you're using it, it'll be shown. I do map only. I don't recommend it necessarily. I like it though. Stamina width. No matter what, I would go short. It takes up less space. Reticle visibility. I do dynamic. When I'm aiming in and using third person, it's shown. When not, it doesn't. Interaction visibility. It can help you even if you're a veteran player just to see where you're supposed to be going and things you can pick up. Nameplate visibility. Keep it on. It will lead to potentially less team killing. At least one could hope. Info visibility. This shows stuff in the bottom right of your screen, such as when someone died, things happening in the text box. I go dynamic. Sample count visibility. If I'm collecting samples, I like to keep it on. If I'm not, I go dynamic or even just map only. Player marker visibility. Pretty self-explanatory. When folks ping stuff on the map, you'll see that. Compass visibility. If they bring back Eruptor one-shotting towards southwest, I'll keep it visible. Until then, map only. I should mention, if your compass is turned to map only, you won't see blizzard in progress, bug breach, bot drop, illuminate dropships, none of that information unless you open the map. Width, I'm gonna do normal, just to give myself a bit easier time reading it. Compass small notches, not necessary. It's more clutter, IMO. Ordinal directions, also not necessary. It gives you the southwest, northwest, you can just guess. And compass angle range, wide. It lets you see more in terms of southwest. When you have it smaller, it spaces those numbers, those letters, really far. And it's harder to tell where you're at. Map navigation mode. In hybrid, you can move around while using the map. In separated, you're going to be using your arrow keys or the right analog stick to traverse the map and ping stuff. Hybrid is the way 100%, at least for me. The end is finally near. This took a long time, I'll tell you that much right now, but hopefully it helps folks drastically, because I know that for certain games, the settings can monumentally improve the experience or take away from it. In V-Rising, it's a big deal, at least for me. This game, same thing. If I had not turned off certain settings when I first started playing, it would have definitely dampened the experience for no reason at all. These are all of my settings, and the only thing I recommend not copying is going to be sensitivity. Maybe take it for baseline, but go to level 1 to 3 bots and take a diligence and practice hitting Billy Bob with the blicky precisely, but also quickly. Then do the same thing for Devastators. If you notice your aim is too sporadic and you can't control it, lower the sense a little bit and keep doing that until you get a decent baseline, stay there for a little bit, and adjust accordingly. Do that for both controller and mouse and keyboard, especially controller, because I don't really use that much at all. So don't copy my settings. I don't know what I'm doing there for the sensitivity aspect. I do like the freaking Stratagem stuff though. I don't think I've ever heard anyone bring up using this side of the controller for that. And I love that. I can actually do that much more precisely on controller than I can mouse and keyboard. Weird. I had to edit and repost this video. I didn't change a whole lot, but far too many folks were confused at the keybind section, which is my fault. 100%. I told y'all to change some binds for controller and didn't include the other important binds to change in combination with that, such as crouch, dive, and prone. And that's the start of the video. People were leaving tons of comments. I'm talking 30, 40, 50, 60 on just here. And I haven't even posted a video on TikTok quite yet, which I revised it there. But that's way too many folks that I'm leading astray, and I feel like that's messed up. So if I want to keep a video up, which I think is a good video, I need to make it make sense. So I put those two sections together. I fixed a different part that didn't sound too good, and I hope it helps. Thank y'all for watching as always. Adios, muchachos.